What's up, everybody? It's Vicious here. Real sorry that I couldn't provide a Final Fantasy VII Remake Let's Play series on YouTube for you, but I was just in awe of everything that was happening in the game, and I just couldn't commentate properly, so, you know, like, it just became a little, I guess you could say discouraging as the playthrough was going on, because I recorded, I think it was 4 parts, and I started thinking it's going to take a long time to upload all these, and they're very long videos, and there's commentary here and there, so I decided not to do that. But me and my friend, who were talking about doing a podcast, we were going to do a chapter-by-chapter analysis. I think individually, or maybe as a team, who knows. But for now, I'd like to talk a little bit about Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat and the end game. Oh my god. Let me just start off by saying I have platinumed this game, and this game is amazing. I give it a solid like 8.5 or 9, and the only reason why it doesn't get a 10 is because the replayability kind of eludes me. If you're not looking for trophies, this isn't really like a game where it's like, oh man, I gotta play this, gotta get up and play this. The combat is amazing, but you only have like a certain amount of set pieces that you can revisit very quickly to the point where they actually mean something. You know what I mean? Alright, Tifa, do your stuff. There we go. See what I mean? The combat is amazing. It's so amazing, and it has me awe-stricken a lot of the time. That's why I could barely talk during that section. But I find that the replayability after you platinum this game, after you've gotten all the trophies and all that, after you've gotten your materia where you want it to be, your materia loadouts and everything, the best thing to do is really just to come to, I believe this is chapter 17, if I'm not mistaken. Whoops. Is to come to chapter 17 and to fight the summons. Or you can go to the VR lab and you can choose any number of these allotted matches here. Hold on a second. And the thing is, I don't like 3-person team versus top secrets. It's really tough. It's just a summons gauntlet. I mean, I got through it, but it wasn't the funnest. And there's the 3-person team versus monsters of legend. Don't like it because there's time berries in it and they can kill you instantly, and that's not really fun. Otherwise, it's fun. You know, it's cool. And then there's 2-person team versus dynamic duos. This is really fun. This is like the one that I really like. Or, you know, I like to play as Cloud, Barret, or Tifa solo. I don't really like to play with Aerith solo. In the original Final Fantasy VII, you could get into random battles, and I feel like that was a lot of the charm behind the battle system too, which, you know, that was a thing in a lot of RPGs back then, especially turn-based, and there would be a lot of randomized enemies for that area, and they would come to fight you, and there'd be rare enemies, there'd be common enemies, yada yada yada. They all had different purposes and different attacks and different ways to kill you, and that was all really interesting. And in this game, you just sort of had to choose the chapters. And I understand why. I'm not complaining. It's not the biggest complaint ever. Like I said, this game is really great. If it had a couple of adjustments, it could be perfect. But, you know, it's not really perfect. You know, but that's not a bad thing because it's not terrible. But yeah, I can just sort of go back and fight these guys down here as they're walking around. I can fight the poor experiments, or, you know, I can get into VR and I can fight Fat Chocobo and it can spit out a couple of random weak time berries and some bombs, you know. I could revisit the chapters, of course, and there is some, well, not really randomization, but there is some exploring that you can do in chapter 8, I believe it is, when you meet Aerith, and you go to the slums. You go to the slums, you go back and forth from the slums to her house and stuff like that, which takes a long time on foot, by the way. That's really great. Like they still keep enemies in the slums and in the train graveyard and stuff like that, but there's no real organic meeting there. They're just sort of there always statically, and there's not random encounters in the game. And I hope that they put that in the next game. Um, like I said, the combat's really fun. I'll fight the fat chocobo right now, as a matter of fact. I'll show you. The combat's really fun. I love it. And I love the enemies in the game. I just wish in the end game there was more to do. And Final Fantasy VII Remake, Part 2, if they do happen to give it that name, I really hope that they find a way to incorporate that. But chapter select, they should keep chapter select, or mission select, if you will. That's a lot like Devil May Cry. And I think that's a brilliant move on their part, because it allows you to, take all the material that you have with you and use it. Oops. It allows you to use it in any chapter. And that to me is awesome. Uh-oh. Yeah. I actually like fighting Fat Chocobo because he's just a big target. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, like I said, he's just a big target and he's really fun to fight. He spits out these other guys and there's a certain amount of, I don't know what you would call it, authenticity to it. Pray for everybody. Yep. Oh boy, I'm about to do some fucking damage to this boy. Oh man, Barrett, what are you doing? Okay, good. I thought I was about to die. Is that a Tomberry over there? Oh, it's dead. This game is beyond charming. Alright, Cloud, your turn, man. And my material leveled up. So, obviously there's fun to be had in the end game for Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's not like it's just, oh, it's a stiff journey. It's just extraordinary. I wish there was more to do, because right now, it's like Final Fantasy VII I hold to a higher standard than Neo 2, obviously. Neo 2 is a great game. It's a fantastic game. But, even though I spent, 100 plus hours on this game, I still spent like more than that on Neo. I know Neo came out like a week or two before this, but I can still play Neo and it's still just as fun as the first day. Whereas this game is like, I've platinumed it, I've gotten everything that there is to get out of it, and there's nothing I want to do in this game anymore. I don't want to lay it down, but it's like I got to, It's like the game ran out of stuff for me to do, and that doesn't feel good, especially like when games like Persona 5, an RPG, it's a turn-based RPG, different from action, I know, but Persona 5 has New Game Plus. It doesn't have chapter select, which is, a minus on its part, not really a minus, but it's not as good as what this game has in terms of like selecting where you want to be. I'm speaking of vanilla, by the way, not Royale. But at least in Persona 5, once you start the game over, there's a lot of things that you can do with the personas that you get, and a lot of choices, a lot of different choices you can make. With this game, I feel like it's sort of cut and dry. Like, there's only a certain amount of choices. I've made them all, and I've done what I wanted to do with my weapons and materia. So, what else is there to do? And don't get me wrong, I think that this game is fine. This game is great. Leave it and work on the next game, because I do not need DLC game. This game should just stay how it is. Make the next game and take a lot of values from this game and improve upon it, and I would say that game would be perfect. If you put chapter select in the next game, perfect. Make it so if you have an open world, make some organic enemy encounters, and I think that this game would be great. Like, you wouldn't even need to do chapter select, I would think, at that point, because you could just stay at whatever chapter you're at that allows you to use the car in the overworld, and you're good. But that's it for me for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to do a chapter by chapter review on this game, because again, it is great. 8.5 or 9, not a 10 or 9.5, but either an 8.5 or a 9 is what I give it. But I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.